Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independent Street NOLA and Seasons and Ritual, and I am here to talk about the Sirius Gateway that started on July 3rd and will last to the 8th. Um, I do see somewhere where it's saying it the 4th through the 8th or the 3rd through the 7th. But I just decided to split the difference and put the 3rd through the 8th because I do know that Sirius starts to rise every year on July 3rd, when it's conjunct with the sun. And so um, Sirius is a star and it is called the dog star. And from July 3rd through August 11th, I believe, it rises and it's conjunct with the sun. And Sirius is the main star in the constellation Canis Major, which just means big dog. And if you look at it and you see it, it is a dog. So that's why it's called the dog star. And because it rises with the sun through July 3rd through August 11th, that's where we get the term dog days of summer. So I always think that makes me laugh. So that's a little tidbit there. But what we're going to talk about right now is the Sirius Gateway. And that to me always starts on July 3rd because that's when it begins to be conjunct with the sun and rising with the sun. So what I'm going to do is read verbatim from the internet because I forgot my notes. And I'm going to read about Isis because the star Sirius, which is anyway, we'll get there. So the star Sirius is considered holy. I can't think of the right word to the ancient Egyptians, and so they see Sirius as Isis. So I'm going to read about Isis, and then I'm just going to read a little bit about the Sirius Gateway. And again, I'm sorry, I forgot my notes. Things have been bananas this past couple weeks, so let me just read about Isis so you guys can get some background on her. And then I'll read about the Sirius Gateway. And then I encourage you to Google or look this stuff up too on your own because it's important for you to read about it and see what resonates with you. When I do these things, I pick out what I think is going to resonate with the collective or is the best overall general advice. So I know when I go back, there are certain things that resonate with me that I put in my personal notes and that I work with spiritually. But I know I don't also always, announce it to the world. So again, just a little kick in the pants to go and do your own research. It doesn't hurt. Okay, so we're going to talk about Isis and her relationship with Sirius. Isis, Great Mother Isis, the goddess of healing and magic. It's important to remember, healing and magic was crucial to ancient Egyptian religious beliefs. She is known today by her Greek name Isis. However, the ancient Egyptians called her Aset. Her name translates to Queen of the Throne, which is reflected in her headdress, which is typically a throne. Sometimes she is also depicted with the vulture headdress of the goddess Mut. I think it's Mute. It's M-U-T. And other times with the disc with horns on the sides attributed to the goddess Hathor. And if you look at the high priestess card, she wears the crown of Hathor. She took on their headdresses as she assimilated their traits. Isis can also be seen as a winged goddess who brought fresh air to the underworld when she went to meet her husband. I think that's so beautiful. Isis was the sister and wife of the god Osiris, ruler of the underworld. It is said that she and Osiris were in love with each other, even in the womb. Isis was also the mother of Horus, the protector of the pharaoh. The most famous story of Isis begins when Seth, the jealous brother of Osiris, dismembered him and scattered the parts of his body throughout Egypt. The ancient sacred stories say that other deities were so impressed with Isis's dedication to finding her beloved husband that they helped her revive him. Isis was very important to the ancient Egyptians because she had so many different powers. She was both the protector of women and the bringer of magic. Isis began as a secondary figure to her husband Osiris. However, after thousands of years of worship, she was transformed into the queen of the universe and the embodiment of the cosmic order. By the Roman period, she was believed to control the power of fate itself. And so one of the things that I love about the story of Isis is the fact that she is healing, she is magic, she is creation, and that idea that she went and was able to find all of Osiris's body parts with the help of the other deities, and then she brought him back to life, and that is so interesting to me because he did rule the underground. Um, and she wasn't afraid to go down there and see him. And then she still understood this magic that happens with the idea of creation. And I appreciate that she wears the different headdresses, that winged magic, right? Where that said that brings in that fresh air, which I associate with because I am an Aquarius, and Aquarius is air, right? And so she brings in that fresh air when she would go see her twin brother in the underground. Also that idea of yin and yang, male and female. So now we're going to read about the Sirius Gateway. And I'm reading this off a website called Intuitive Astrology, and I'll link it down below so you guys can go see it too. Every year during the first week of July, a sacred gateway of energy is activated between Earth and the star Sirius, bringing heightened vibrations and spiritual advancements. This gateway of energy occurs as the sun comes into conjunction with the star Sirius, which is located at 14 degrees of the tropical zodiac of Cancer, because it is Cancer season. And like we said at the beginning, the sun comes into conjunction with the star, and it always starts on the 3rd, and it ends on the 11th. But this gateway is just from, I'm saying the 3rd to the 8th. As the sun and Sirius conjunct from July 3rd, well, they have July 4th from the 8th. We are all able to access this high frequency energy and use it for creative inspiration, entrepreneurial endeavors, technology, innovations, and heightening our intuition. It's a good thing I can read. Our sun is considered the lifeline of this planet. The sun holds the energy of birth, warmth, sustenance, and light. The sun is what keeps us alive and present in this earthly reality. Sirius, which shines 23 times brighter than our own sun, is our spiritual sun, and it helps to activate and shift us to higher levels of spiritual awareness. Even though the star Sirius is so far from our planet, it seems to have an important place in the stories of many ancient cultures from all over the world. In ancient Egypt, Sirius was considered to be the star of the goddess Isis, who rules over the cycles of death and rebirth, and Anubis, the jackal-headed god who is able to walk between the world of the living and the world of the dead. In ancient shamanic cultures, Sirius was believed to be a portal to the gods, and journeys taken through the Sirius Gateway were said to bring divine messages. It was also believed that Sirius was the portal to heaven and was where our souls had to travel through in order to leave this realm and to enter the next. In modern astrology, Sirius also holds the vibration of freedom. Its energy can help us to release limitations and feel free to express our true selves. This energy of freedom can also act as inspiration, helping us to go out there and to turn our goals and dreams into reality. And so I think that's really important too, or really nice that it's piggybacking on this Capricorn full moon, right? Which Capricorn is the sign of work, and practicality. And so we can bring in all this good energy from the Sirius Gateway and really just start to look at our lives. I know I sound like a broken record, but just being really practical about what it is that we love and how we want to feel and how we want to show up. And we can work with these good vibrations, or high vibrations, in order to help move those old limiting vibrations through. If it is this idea of freedom, which I also find very interesting because Aquarius at its highest self, and we're in this age of Aquarius, that's why I keep mentioning Aquarius, not just because I'm an Aquarius, but in this age of Aquarius, Aquarius's ultimate goal is for freedom, and with this energy, it is this idea of finding that freedom. Um, so we can look to see or ask, show me where I'm limiting myself, or show me my limiting beliefs. And when they come up, it is important for us to see that they're coming up so we can let them go and say, "Oh, I get it. That's not my story anymore. Show me how I can get free of this story and put me on my path to my own personal freedom." You know, um, Again, working with Isis, working with Hathor. Hathor was is also a creation. She's the goddess. She's a cow, and it was from her teats the Milky Way was formed, right? And that is why, or that's not why. Sorry, that's not why. But I also see Taurus connected to Hathor because of the sign of the bull, even though bull's masculine. But Taurus is ruled by Venus, so that's where I bring in that feminine energy. Um, And so, but it is this idea of creation, Taurus, Pentacle, Earth, Capricorn, Pentacle, Earth. To me, I just see like this is a really beautiful energy coming in on this planet right now, especially with all those things handed down by our Supreme Court, and it's really interesting because when I was thinking about this idea of freedom, it seems like the more the stuff comes out, um, people, it's just this weird, it was like, and I'm just gonna just touch on Clarence Thomas, but like he was haunted by this idea of affirmative action. And so because he was finally over able to overturn it or tell it like it is, it's like he found the freedom he always wanted from his narrative of affirmative action, which is important to remember. His narrative wasn't like everyone else's narrative. So it's important when you are writing your own narrative for freedom, when you are working with these high vibrations in order to move you from one story to the next, to really concentrate on what it is that you want and how you feel about it and how you want to show up in this world. Um, the Sirius Gateway is to get to our spiritual side, our spiritual self, how we can show up balanced and authentically, so this is a good time. I know it's the 4th of July, but this is a good time to be present, to do a little journaling, to set those intentions, to drink lots of water. I might as well throw that in there while I'm saying all this stuff. But just to give yourself that time to work with this feminine energy of creation and magic, and know that we don't have to have all the answers, right? We just have to have that faith and that trust that things are moving in the right directions for us, that we do get back into our bodies, we do start understanding what our emotions are telling us and what they mean and how they can get us from here to there, especially if we want to get there, you know. I know at first it can seem a little daunting or confusing. So this would be a good time to use this gateway energy to set that intention, to get everything working together, to get those feelings um, to work together to help put you on that path where you want to be, and to see that you are that co-creator, right? Just like Isis was that co-creator of getting all the parts back of her brother slash husband, and bringing him back to life. There is a part that we do in human form, and then there is a part that happens in spiritual form. And I think that, to me, is one of the greatest mysteries, if you will, but one of the greatest lessons, or that we can live, that we need to learn to live with. Like, we cannot control everything, but it's important to see what we don't control, how we can still, bring it back together and create something, I guess, that we want. I think it's okay to say something that we want. She brought, her brother back with love, and devotion, and it was through magic and creation. So I hope we can all tap into this magic in creation that is the Sirius Gateway. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it short for there. I think I'll be back for the 7-7 portal. I would say it's a hat trick, but I think I've been on here more than 3 times. So again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via YouTube or the websites and Instagram. I'm going to link those websites below that I read from, and I hope you guys all have a great Sirius Gateway.